Many beautiful souls who were once deeply rooted in church communities have found themselves quietly stepping away, not in rebellion, but in response to something deeper happening within. When we look at this gentle and often painful part of the journey, we see that one of the most profound reasons why the chosen walk away is because of wounding in sacred spaces. These wounds are not always visible. They don't always come with loud drama or headlines. Often they are soft and slow, like a whisper of pain that accumulates over time. A comment here, a judgment there. A doctrine that doesn't allow room for questions. A glance that says, "You don't quite belong." It can be as subtle as never seeing yourself reflected in the messages preached from the pulpit, or as sharp as being directly told that who you are, who you love, or how you feel disqualifies you from love, God's or the church's. For the sensitive soul, the seeker, the empath, the intuitive one who feels things deeply, these experiences leave imprints. Not just on the mind, but on the heart, the nervous system, the spirit. And for those who are called, those who are chosen in the sense that their hearts beat with a deeper rhythm of purpose and connection, the pain becomes magnified because they entered those sacred spaces with pure intent, with hope, with open heart. When harm comes from a place that was supposed to be safe, it cuts a little deeper. It's not just betrayal, it's spiritual betrayal. Now you don't walk away in anger, they walk away because the ache became too loud to ignore. They may have sat quietly in the pews week after week, smiling and participating, all while something inside them was breaking, shrinking, or silencing itself to survive. It's not that they lost faith, it's that the environment that once nurtured it began to suffocate it. There is a difference between walking away from God and walking away from the place where God was supposed to live, but didn't feel present anymore. There's a deep longing in all of us to be loved, accepted, and seen, not for who we might become after we're fixed, but for who we are right now. The chosen often carry a heightened awareness of this. They hear the tone behind the words. They sense the energy behind the smile. They feel whether love is truly unconditional or whether it's wrapped in expectations and requirements. And when love feels conditional, their soul resists, not because they don't want to change, but because they know real change only comes in the presence of true, safe love. And what happens next is sacred, even though it may not look that way from the outside. The stepping away becomes an act of self-preservation, of healing, of reclaiming dignity. It becomes a journey inward, a journey toward the voice of God that still speaks in the quiet. It is in this space of separation that many rediscover the divine, not as an institution, not as a set of rules, but as an ever-present, loving force that has never been confined by walls or doctrine. And here's the beautiful part, that wound, painful as it is, becomes a place of transformation. It softens the heart. It creates empathy for others who have felt out of place, unseen or unloved in similar ways. It opens the door for a more expansive, inclusive spirituality. One that embraces rather than excludes, that listens rather than dictates. So if you, dear one, have walked away from church because of a wound, know this: you are not alone and you are not broken. You are on a sacred path. Your pain is valid and your journey back to wholeness is not a detour, it is the way. Healing does not require your return to a building. It only asks for your return to your own heart. There you will find the presence of the divine, whispering, "I never left you." And maybe, just maybe, the wound wasn't meant to end your faith, but to deepen it, to move you beyond performance and into presence, beyond shame and into grace, beyond religion and into relationship. You are still chosen, especially now. There comes a moment on the spiritual journey when the soul begins to stretch. It starts quietly, like the feeling of outgrowing a room that you once loved. The space is still beautiful, still full of memories, but something in you no longer fits. You start to feel the edges. The walls, once comforting, begin to close in. The rituals that once brought peace now feel rehearsed. The words spoken no longer stir the same warmth, and so begins the quiet inner shift. Spiritual growth is natural. It's a sign of health, and just like a child must one day grow beyond their crib, the soul must grow beyond the structures that once held it. What once served as a safe container, a community, a doctrine, or routine, may now feel too narrow to hold the fullness of who you've become. It doesn't mean those things were wrong or bad. It simply means you are evolving, and your spirit is asking for more space to explore, to question, to breathe. This is not a betrayal of faith. It is faith in motion. The chosen often find themselves at the edge of the familiar, looking out into the unknown, drawn by something sacred that their old frameworks can no longer define. They begin to sense that God is not only found in sermons or hymns, but in silence, in sunlight, in conversation, in tears, in laughter. The spiritual becomes less about performance and more about presence, less about repetition and more about revelation. And as this inner expansion begins, it can become difficult to stay in environments that remain rigid. Many traditional structures, while well-intentioned, resist change. They cling tightly to rules and boundaries, fearing that freedom will lead to chaos. But the soul knows better. The soul understands that true freedom is not the absence of discipline, but the presence of authenticity. It's not about discarding reverence. It's about deepening it in a way that includes the full spectrum of human experience. When the soul starts to outgrow the church, it may feel like betrayal, especially if you've been raised to believe that questioning is dangerous or that leaving is equivalent to falling away. But what if it's not falling at all? What if it's rising into a new way of knowing God, rising into a deeper trust in your own connection with the divine, rising into the mystery and allowing it to be holy instead of frightening? Meditation often includes asking hard questions. Questions that don't always have neat answers. The chosen start to seek God not only in the certainty of scriptures, but in the uncertainty of life. They begin to trust the voice within that whispers, "There's more." They become less interested in being told what to believe and more interested in experiencing truth for themselves. And while this can feel isolating at first, it is also profoundly liberating, because once you realize that God is not limited to a building, you start to see the sacred in everything. Leaves become scripture, conversations become communion, moments of stillness become prayer. And this doesn't mean you no longer value what you once had. It means you've taken it into your heart and allowed it to evolve with you. You carry the church within now. You don't reject its teachings. You take what resonates and release what restricts. You honor the roots even as you grow new branches. This journey may be misunderstood by others. Not everyone will see your expansion as a blessing. Some will worry, some will judge, but your path is not for their comfort. It is for your becoming. You are not leaving something behind. You are stepping into something greater. You are listening to your spirit, and that is a sacred act. So, if you find yourself no longer feeling at home in the place that once held you, it's okay. You were not wrong. You were not lost. You were simply growing. And sometimes growth means letting go of the container so the soul can truly soar. The church was never meant to be the final destination. It was meant to be part of the journey. And when your spirit outgrows its walls, it doesn't mean you've abandoned the path. It means the path has led you to your next horizon.